A fire in Hong Kong did something that sounds almost impossible. It climbed a skyscraper faster than a person could run down the stairs. Now, this isn't just some far off tragedy, it's a terrifying preview of a danger that is growing right here in India's own cities. We really need to understand how this happened, and more importantly, what it means for our future. 4 minutes, that's it. In about the time it takes to brew a cup of tea, a fire in a Hong Kong high-rise shot up 31 floors, trapping hundreds of people. It's that unbelievable speed that makes this story so critical for all of us to unpack. All right, so first, let's get into the details of what happened over there. Let's look at this fire in the sky. Look, this was not just another fire. 94 people lost their lives. That's more than double the city's last major high-rise disaster back in 1996. In fact, it was the single deadliest fire Hong Kong had seen in nearly a century. This event just shattered all the wrong kinds of records. So the big question is, how could a fire possibly spread that fast? Well, the answer is a perfect storm, created by three surprisingly ordinary things that turned a modern building into a death trap. Let's break this down. The first ingredient was on the outside of the building. It was wrapped in these massive webs of bamboo scaffolding for some repairs. Now, bamboo is strong, it's cheap, but when it's dry, it's also incredibly flammable. It basically gave the fire a ladder to climb the entire building. Next up, you had plastic, lots of it. There was flammable plastic sheeting covering the scaffolding and plastic covers on all the air conditioner pipes running up the walls. Once that caught fire, it started to melt and drip, spreading flames down and across, and creating just awful, toxic smoke. And the final ingredient? Well, that was found inside. It was just everyday clutter. Things like old furniture, cardboard boxes, and other junk piled up in common areas. All of this stuff acted as extra fuel, helping the fire to spread and rage from within the building as well. So you've got all this fuel, right? And then it gets supercharged by the building's own design, thanks to something called the chimney effect. Just think about it. What does a chimney do? It's designed to pull smoke up and out. Well, in its tall building, the stairwells, the elevator shafts, all the vents, they act like giant internal chimneys, sucking the flames and smoke upwards at terrifying speeds. The building literally worked against itself. Okay, now let's bring the story back home, because this is where things get really concerning for us here in India. As our own cities are racing to build higher and higher, the exact same risks are popping up everywhere. 27,027. Take a good look at that number. That's how many people in India have already died in fire-related incidents just this year. And that's without a massive high-rise catastrophe like the one in Hong Kong. The danger is already here, and it's very, very real. And you know what? That danger is growing vertically. As our buildings get taller, the risks just multiply. I mean, fighting a fire on the 4th floor is one thing, but fighting a fire on the 40th? That's a whole different ballgame, with different physics, different equipment, and way more danger. Just take a look at the data from one city, Ahmedabad. You've got over 50 buildings that are taller than 15 floors and 17 that soar between 25 and 48 stories high. This exact pattern is repeating all over the country. We're essentially creating thousands of vertical villages where one spark can put thousands of lives at risk. And here's the crucial, scary part. This boom in construction is happening on a very shaky foundation of what you could call systemic failures. We're talking about fire brigades that don't have ladders or equipment that can even reach the top floors, safety rules that are ignored because of corruption, sprinkler systems that exist on a checklist but don't actually work, and maybe the most terrifying of all, emergency exits, your last hope, are often locked or blocked with junk, turning escape routes into deadly traps. I know this sounds pretty bleak, but it doesn't have to be this way. The hard lessons from Hong Kong actually give us a clear blueprint for what to do. We can absolutely engineer safety back into our cities, if we decide to. So what's on this blueprint for safety? First, you start with the basics. Mandate fire retardant materials in construction. Don't give the fire fuel to begin with. Second, you have to be vigilant. Require strict annual safety audits to catch problems before they become disasters. Third, it's about people. Conduct mandatory fire drills so residents know exactly what to do and don't panic. Fourth, and this is non-negotiable, keep those emergency exits clear, always. And finally, we have to equip our heroes. Upgrade the fire brigades with the tools they need to fight fires at the heights we're building. This all brings us to the most important question. Because this isn't just about rules and equipment, it's about who takes responsibility. So let's ask it. When a building burns down in a fire that could have been prevented, who's really to blame? Is it the authorities who didn't enforce the rules? The builders who cut corners to save some money? Or is it maybe the residents who blocked an exit or skipped a fire drill? The tough answer is that it's a shared responsibility, and a failure anywhere along that chain can lead to a catastrophe. And that leaves us with one final thought. Our ambition to build higher and higher is incredible, but it absolutely must be matched by an equally tall commitment to safety. Because the alternative, as we've seen so clearly, is a price that is just far too high for anyone to pay.